I am not okay with that decision. It's even a bit of a careless call. Yes, for you, it makes things quicker and easier, but it dumps all the consequences on me. And frankly, it creates more problems than it solves. I don't see it having that sort of impact. Then that's part of the problem. Don't you see how it skips the crucial steps? How do we expect this to work out fine in practice? Does this situation sound familiar to you? In your personal life, in your professional life? Then this video is just for you. My name is Tim, I'm .connector17, and today's video is about crucial conversations. Over the years, watching discussions like that, I noticed that when people get angry, it doesn't really help. You end up discussing the anger and the consequences of it rather than the real issue. And for years or even decades, I wanted to become better at it, but I just didn't see how. Sometimes you had somebody who was very good at it. I was lost in admiration for that person, but it didn't give me the skills to do better next time. This book is designed to do just that, to set you up to do better next time you are in that sort of situation. So what is a crucial conversation? In the example, you might have noticed that emotions were running high, the stakes were high because it was someone who had to implement that stuff, probably on a consistent basis, and opinions diverged. It was already an eye-opener to learn that we are not made to perform well in these situations. The authors even say that we are designed wrong for that. When we are agitated, we're getting angry and emotionally charged, our fight and flight response kicks in. It means that our body puts the blood in the legs so we could run or somewhere else so we could fight, but not in the head where we need it. So we end up not doing what would really help, but rather follow our instincts. And that is the opposite of what is needed in these situations. Some people have that capacity to still speak openly, honestly, and well, effectively, even when it is difficult. How do they do that? They remain in dialogue. Dialogue is a situation when all parties feel safe to actually speak up in full, and that everyone walks okay out of that discussion, even if they did not get everything that they initially wanted when the discussion started. And the best at this dialogue have a few tricks. The authors, Mr. Patterson, Granny, Macmillan, and Switzler, actually went into companies and learned from the best. They would ask everyone in the company, who has everybody's ear? If that person talks, everyone is listening. Then they looked what those people everyone pointed to were doing. It's basically three things. The first is you start with heart. By answering your question, what do I really want to get out of this conversation? What is behind my behavior there? In the beginning, it could be that all I want to do is solve this problem consistently and efficiently with the minimum of headaches. If somebody puts burden on you, well, that's not what you want. When that happens, our natural instinct is to become angry or to withdraw, to stop talking. Some people become passive aggressive. All of that is some sort of silence of violence. This is what the authors of the book call sucker's choices, because that just does not work. The other person most probably becomes defensive, and then you're not discussing the real issue anymore. So start with heart. What is it that you really want to get out of the conversation? The next thing you can do is set up a new choice. Ask yourself a better question, an and question. How can I have a fruitful discussion with my colleagues and come to a solution that keeps burden low for everybody? That makes it much easier to stay in dialogue. The second secret about staying in dialogue is keeping it safe for everybody. How do the best in dialogue do that? That's coming up in a minute. The last thing to stay in dialogue is to explore your own story, so what leads to behavior, and explore their story. That will be the fourth idea, but now let's move on to the third one. When everyone in the conversation feels truly safe, you can pretty much discuss anything, even the hardest of topics. One key to achieve that is to look for signs that safety is actually at risk and then counterbalance. You will notice early, for example, a normal conversation all of a sudden turns crucial. Emotions are running high, opinions diverge, and the stakes are high. Second, you notice that others are becoming defensive or showing signs of silence or violence. Then they are not feeling safe. And thirdly, you observe yourself turn to your style under stress. If you know that you become aggressive under stress and you notice this is happening, well, you're not feeling safe. If you learn to look, you will gradually acquire that capacity of dual processing. You discuss the content and at the same time look for signs that people are not feeling safe. But Tim, what can you do if you see that safety is at risk? First thing is that you can find a mutual purpose for the discussion. Find a point to discuss that is in everybody's interest, not just your own. Respect the other person. If you find that you're not respecting that person, dwell on the human condition. Find ways you are similar with them. Respect is like air. Once you take it away, it's all that people can think about. That's why it's so important. Master your story and explore their story to ensure the free flow of meaning so that everybody can express themselves fully. This is another powerful trick to remain in dialogue. Our story is basically our perception of a situation. This we can control our emotions. Remember the example from the very beginning? One person was actually miffed because they were fearing that they would have to carry all the burden of a decision while others would benefit. That's how they got angry. If you find yourself behaving in similar ways, stop what you're doing and think about why are you doing it? What thought led to this behavior that you're showing there, acting a bit miffed? Admit to yourself that you are showing silence of violence behaviors. Then explore your true feelings, your true emotions, and share openly what is going on inside of you. This technique is called state your path. Speak honestly and with candor. This is how you master your story. To explore their story, it's about making it safe for them to share it. Honestly, you cannot force anyone else into dialogue. If they don't want, there's little you can do. But you can make it easy for them. Identifying a mutual purpose, and also by listening in ways that make others feel safe to share their intimate thoughts. There are a few tricks, tools and techniques along the way. You have already discovered state your path to keep it safe and stay in dialogue. Then there is the crib technique to identify a mutual purpose. CRIB stands for commit to a mutual purpose, recognize the purpose behind a strategy. If you cannot find one, invent one. And then jointly brainstorm new strategies which will fulfill that newly found mutual purpose. when things are getting a little more intimate or more emotional, our tone of voice must convey that we are okay with them feeling the way that they are feeling. You can also try to prime others if you're getting nowhere. How do you start a good conversation about a tricky or a sensitive issue? I'd like to talk about something that's getting in the way of my working with you. It's a tough issue to bring up, but I think it helps us being better teammates if I do. Is that okay? Leaving people choices is a good idea, isn't it? Dialogue is super important to have a good conversation. But dialogue is not deciding. The authors present 4 ways of deciding, starting with command. That is one person saying how things are done without consulting anyone. That is good when there are outside forces, not leaving a lot of room for alternative possibilities. Then you have consult. You talk to the experts and people who are affected by the decision. And then you decide, so that it's a dialogue, but it's still you deciding. Then there is vote, when efficiency matters. Maybe you do some research before and some consulting, and then you have a bigger list of alternatives. You narrow it down to a number of good options, and from there you vote. Finally, you have consensus, when everyone must support the decision. It is the best way for complex, high-stakes issues. The next step after deciding is making assignments. Who does what, by when, how we will follow up. If you don't do that step, your next conversation is about keeping commitments. To avoid that happening, clarify what you want upfront and also bring up an example of a common mistake as an example of what you don't want. The last idea is a big one. You can level up your style under stress, that behavior that we turn to when we're not feeling safe. If that happens, a good question to ask yourself is, are we in or out of dialogue? If you're out of dialogue, make it safe. And then there are 4 steps to master the next level. First, master the content. This means create new scripts of your own. Find new things to say which are better or more helpful, more effective than what your instincts would tell you. Second, master the skills. Apply a good tone and nonverbals and really strive to walk your talk. Knowing something and doing something are 2 different animals altogether. The third one is a tough one. You must actually want to change, to seize opportunities and change behavior. And finally, watch for cues, watch for opportunities to show your new behavior. If you take these 4 steps, well, you have mastered the next level in crucial conversations. So there you have it. This book helps you perform well. The stakes are high, opinions differ, and the situation is emotionally charged. That is what I appreciate so much about this book. One of my big takeaways is challenge. We can do well even when we are designed wrong. I found relief or validation. These conversations that I used to call difficult conversations do come by surprise, and they do require some special skills to navigate them well that not everybody has. And that is okay, because you can learn them. I had felt very alone with this view before. And I'm all the more grateful for all the conversational tools the authors offer, which can help us navigate these conversations better. And by the way, I'm also happy for the new name for it. Difficult conversation, hard conversations, tough conversations. It's about the experience, but crucial conversations is about importance. Don't know about you, but that shift in perspective helps me quite a lot. You might find the same relief that there are tools to keep those difficult, challenging, crucial conversations meaningful and on track. You also have tools now to stay calm when you see others turn to silence or violence, so you know if you help them to feel safe, these behaviors might disappear. You also get help to handle your instincts, because sometimes our instincts aren't as helpful as we would hope for. So is this book worth your time, your money, your energy? For me, the answer is an easy yes, thanks to all these conversational tools, and thanks to the confirmation that yes, we can do well in these situations. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon in the next video. Have a wonderful day, take care, bye bye.